Good evening and welcome to my end of the week recap video here for the S&P 500. Couple of quick notes to make. I have not taken any new positions in the SPY. I did close out those weekly 285 calls for the small loss that was already there just to take that money back off the table before they expired. In hindsight, of course, that was a bad decision as they did go up on this day. And I'm still holding August 295s and June 2019 325 calls. Price action has put in what looks like may be a setup for a pullback, which is perfectly fine with me. I'll zoom out here to my trade plan. I will look for pullbacks to these levels over here. 8 EMA, 21 EMA, and 50 SMA. And actually, I misspoke. Up here, if we get a break above this 282 level, I will look for 282 calls with 4 weeks of time left on them versus this 280.5 level. It's a fairly wide range, $1.50 of risk. It's 1.5 the delta of the calls that I do decide to get into. Reason being, I will be traveling for the next couple of weeks, so I'm going to be unable to actively trade every day. Just want to have opportunity to make some money with the market while I'm out and about. If that does not materialize and we do get a deeper pullback, I will look for 280 calls here around the 21 EMA. This is also a previous support level here from July 23rd. Maybe even get a retest of this prior resistance at 277 or the 50 SMA down here. Now the 50 SMA will probably come up a little bit higher Monday and Tuesday and touch this resistance line, or excuse me, what should be a support zone now, and add some support to that. Way down below there, even further, I will look for 270 calls, but with 4 weeks in the future. Now over here to the monthly time frame, very nice pattern still in force, almost an outside month, but not quite. Volume's still a little bit low. We'll see what happens in the next 2 trading days, I believe, left in the month. If we maintain price action above this 279.5 level, and then 27.96, I believe, in futures, we should be good to go. Bulls are still pushing up over highs, but if price action breaks below there, just like in a support, if you have a line and price comes down to it, chops, breaks down below and reclaims, that's bullish. Right here, we have what should have been a resistance. Price came up to it, it chopped around and broke above. If it reclaims and breaks down back down below, it's very likely to be a lot of stop losses down here below this 279.5, and we'll have a little bit of a rollover for a deeper pullback, maybe even all the way down here to 255. As I've said before, we may have set up in a very large range here for basically 2018 between 286 and 255. It wouldn't surprise me, but if it does pull back in, we have a higher low off one of my levels, I'll be glad to go ahead and attack that play for a potential breakout. Now to the weekly time frame, as I said in my last video, last week was an indecision week, not a reversal. Nothing bearish about it yet, just simply indecision. It's a battleground. We've broken above, which should imply that we have buyers willing to push price up higher. Now we have to just have to maintain price action above there, and that level is 281.20 roughly. We closed very close to there. It's worth mentioning we did close on a significant amount of volume here midday, right at the lows, put in a very bullish candle, bounced up and consolidated. As long as it stays above 280.5, should be okay. And I will look for these 282 calls for a nice little swing. In here to the daily time frame, which is the worst looking candle of the bunch. Still not that bad. Held at the 8 EMA, closed right at it. And for my trend trading, what I'm looking for is if price action holds a certain level, I expect it to make at least a new high. So price action came up, came back, tested 8 EMA, new high, tested 8 EMA, new high, back at the 8 EMA. We'll see if it puts in another high. If it comes up and starts putting in lower high and drop down, well, then it's going to be fine. Going to be time to wait for the next support level. That's how I'm looking at price action. This would be my trade plan. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good evening and good luck.